Hey guys, hope you all are doing great. In this video, we are going to draw a tree using Krita. So I have saved the document at first and now we're going to choose a brush. Any kind of ink brush will do, and I'm not going to choose any bristle brush as you can see because I do not prefer drawing something solid such as tree, body or any building or anything with bristle brushes, because I think there are gaps in between, and whenever we want to use the transparency mask or we are going to use the alpha inheritance, then it might give us a poor performance, and this is why I personally do not like to use bristle brushes. If you just paint like this and then you block the transparency and you start painting on top of it, you will see that there are gaps and they do not close. So this is one reason why I do not like to use bristle brush for any kind of solid painting. Now I'm going to remove all these and I'm going to drag a brush. I'm going to select a brush that suits my my painting, which is the tree body. I think this one would look nice. However, I'm going to change the brush tip which I already have. This brush tip, it's a custom brush tip and I really like this one because it's a very solid kind of brush tip. Okay, so let's move on to our tree painting. So I'm going to keep the body color a bit brownish, and later on we will add some green tone to it, but first let's just keep the body brown. So basically drawing a tree body is very easy and very random because there's no particular shape that you have to follow unless you are very much sure about your concept, that I'll be drawing a spooky kind of tree or I'll be drawing a cute kind of tree. So it's up to you. Yes, one thing that you can do is you can have some sort of visual in your mind that alright, I want my tree to look like this, but it's not always very obvious and it doesn't turn out the way you always want it. So start drawing at any point and things will work out. I'm going to add random branches of the tree. Later on we will add small branches, but first I am drawing the bigger branches of the tree to understand what my tree is going to look like. The lower portion is going to be quite thick than the upper portion, but I'm drawing it very slow. I'm adding few lines with the lower portion because I do not prefer drawing the whole thing because it eventually gets thicker with the process. So I try to keep it very simple at first. And you see, we started from here and it looks quite a good tree. It has a good shape so far. We will change a lot of things. Alright, so we can move on to the next thing, which is make the brush size smaller so we can draw the little details. Now we are going to zoom in a bit so we can give small details to the branches. Okay. Alright, so I'm done with my tree body. Now I will draw a simple background, though my main focus is on the tree only for this particular video. Now I'm going to use the basic shape of this brush, which is a round shape. Alright, now we will move on to the shading of this tree. For that, I'm going to make a new layer on top of the tree, and then I'll be selecting the tree and the blank layer and right click and then group and then quick group. On the top layer, which is blank, I will lock the transparency of it, which is basically a clipping mask. And now I will use some green kind of tone on top of it, but for that I'm going to make the blending mode of this layer to luminosity psi or shine. Okay, and I'm going to bring the previous brush or maybe a new one. I think I'll be using some kind of art brush which has a texture, beautiful grainy texture. This brush looks quite nice, so I'll be using that. I'll be making the size smaller a bit, and I'm going to add it on top of my tree. Always remember about the shading, the light comes from one direction, not from each direction. So I'll try to keep the lights on the left side of the tree. Okay, doesn't have to look that proper, okay, because we are going to add some leaves as well, so doesn't have to look that proper. But then again, just try to keep the shape intact. Alright, so we are done with the grain effect. Now I will be blending that with some kind of texture brush. Okay, I think this texture brush looks quite nice, but I'm going to decrease the size a bit, I guess. You see, it has a very artistic kind of texture. It basically ruins the grain effect. All right, so we are almost done with the blending. Now I'm going to add a little bit of yellowish kind of light, and for that I'll be using airbrush. I think a grainy airbrush would be great, and I will make the blending mode of this brush to color dodge, I guess. Yes, color dodge is nice. Now I will make the size smaller, and I will draw a very few parts of the tree with this particular color, not fully. You see, it's a very bright color, so it might ruin the tree if I make too much use of it. So I'm being very careful. For the leaves, I have a particular technique, which is I usually use some kind of spray brush, because spray brushes are really great when it comes to adding random kind of brush tips inside of your painting. I think I will be using this particular spray brush. Okay, it has a nice texture, and I was just testing that. I'll be adding a new layer on top of the trees, and I will simply drag them outside of the group. And this is paint layer 6. Let's name it leaves. There are so many layers, I will forget. Okay, so this is leaves, and I'm not going to use this particular texture because I'm going to bring some other texture from here. And I think some lightness mask is also nice. also I will be using this lightness strength. And I will add some value. Alright, this looks nice. So what kind of leaf should I add? What kind of leaf? I don't know. I guess I will just choose a particular color, then later on I might change the hue of it and we'll see what color do I like. Okay, so for now I think this color is fine. Blue or purple, whatever. Okay, I think pink. Okay, I'm very much confused. Sorry. Now let's move on and simply add leaves here and there. Alright, so we are almost done. Now the next thing is adding some leaves behind of the tree so that it gets some more 3D kind of look, you know. We usually see the front portion of the tree, but often we do not look behind of the tree. But if we add some leaves behind of it, it looks quite realistic. So I'm going to add a new layer on top of the sky, and I'm going to change the size of it and make it bigger. I think I'm going to erase few of the leaves from the top portion. So I'm going to go above and I'm going to choose the eraser and I'm simply going to erase few portion of it so that it looks more realistic, because I want some of my branches to peek through. I have put a lot of efforts on the branches, so I'm going to make it pop up. Over here. Okay, I think I'm loving the tree. Now the next thing is adding some shading on top of the leaves. So I'm going to lock the transparency of the leaves, those two layers, and I'm simply going to grab my airbrush, I think a green one, and I will make it overlay. Okay, the brush mode to overlay, and I will simply add some orange. Okay, some orange on my leaves. So this is the upper portion and I'm simply adding some orange here and there. Now I'm taking a darker orange and I'm adding some darker orange here and there. So if you like this tutorial, kindly subscribe to my channel, share my videos with your friends. Have a nice day everyone. Thank you so much for watching.